some of the differences between what Mirandus does and most games do is that we don't want monsters to feel like basically monster pinatas, where they're just there for you to
Just to
hit
beat
them a
up.
few times and then they drop candy on the ground and you grab a bunch of stuff. Monsters don't want to die.
Right.
Same way you don't want to die.
Right.
So they really don't want you to walk up to them and smack them and kill them. So they're going to think about whether they want to engage with you too, or they may find it's better if I go back to where the rest of the goblin camp is and then bring some friends.
Okay.
Or they may be hungry, so they're going to go and, like a wolf may come and find you because you're by yourself and they think they can take you.
Right.
And it may be not one wolf, but a pack of wolves that are coming after you and have some pack dynamics. So there's a significant amount of engineering going into making the AI interesting and not predictable. Monsters don't want to die. We have an engineer working full-time on making the AI learn. So if you beat the same monster the same way several times, they may not be possible to beat the same way next time, or it'll be harder, or they'll recognize that strategy and try and find a way to survive a little bit longer. Monsters don't want to die. Where we're not just dialing up hit points and dialing up defense and making things harder because the numbers are bigger, but actually requiring you to be a little bit more observant and reactive to the situation. And to the extent that we're going to have the monsters be able to hear you when you're coming. So monsters may be more or less sensitive to sound. And as you're walking across the field, if you're in bulky plate mail, you're clanking the whole way.
Right.
They're going to actually look and pay attention to you. But if you're in leather, or if you're a stealthy character, you can get closer before they pay attention to you. So you're not emitting quite so much noise.
We don't have the ability for you to just type stuff in. Again, don't break the reality that I'm in this fantasy world. We actually are spending a lot of time and energy making a voice system that we're really proud of. So what will happen is you will be speaking and communicating with people around you. But as you speak into the microphone, we record just the phonemes and send that as a very small bit of data to the other clients and the other computers and recreate what it is you've said in voices that you can choose from. What's really nice about this system is, you can be a girl and sound like an orc.
Okay. So it changes the voice.
Yes. So you'll have many different voices that you can choose from. And as you say things naturally to you on the microphone, what's coming out on the other side is the voice that you've chosen. We want players to work together and speak together and communicate with each other to learn about what they need. If you are mining and you're taking your pickaxe to the rocks, they will hear.
I'll hear that.
If you yell at your friend, you'll need to yell at them sometimes if they get too far away. You can whisper if they're close, but when they're over there, hey, over here, you'll have to yell. Creatures will also hear that. They'll hear that too.
When do you expect this to be ready for the public?
I think it's going to take us probably a year to develop the content. The game exists in zones. Our zones are kilometer by kilometer in each zone. Sometimes there can be up to an additional half kilometer by half kilometer space of dungeons. So they're pretty beefy. But I think we probably need another year of content. The core tech is pretty much there. The tools are pretty much there. That stuff just gets better over time. But we probably have another year to get all the creatures and the dungeons and everything built. We're one shard. I think that's important to note. We're one world that you're living in. So there's not servers all over the world.
Gotcha.
That you're logging into. This is one world, one single world, and everyone that's playing is all in the same place, which we think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're on blockchain, and that means that when you craft something, it's yours. You own it. You have it in your hand. If people aren't familiar with what blockchain can provide, it is bringing back true ownership. That's lost these days. In the old days, when you would buy something, it would be on a cartridge. This is yours.
Yeah.
Where has that gone?
Right.
Nowadays, what do you own? Not only do you not own the games that you're buying, typically, your first thing you sign is a terms of service sheet saying everything in the game is the game company's.
Right.
You can be shut off, and we can take your account and everything in it at a moment's notice if you break any of these infractions. What's cool about blockchain is it lives on a decentralized network run by people out in the world. If you have something, we couldn't take it from you even if we wanted to. It exists on the blockchain. and it's yours to do with as you will.
What I'm worried about is
Yeah.
we have to have all the bugs, the important bugs, worked
Yeah.
out. We have to have good controls over what happens when someone finds an exploit, because almost every MMO, there's a way to duplicate items or make gold coins or whatever. So we have to make sure that there's no bugs, and if there are bugs, there's a way to shut those things off before they get exploited too much,
Yeah.
or make it impossible for them to have bugs. Like we in blockchain, we can have exactly 5 magic swords, and there will never be more than 5.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone can find a way to unlock all 5 of them, that's a problem. So it's possible for there to be bugs, and it's software, and software has bugs. So
Yeah.
we have to be very careful before we light everything up.
One of the things that Jason mentioned that is fun about what it is we're doing is you never get to see how games are made.
True.
No one ever shares that information. They wait until marketing is convinced they can run some sweet video and have everything look all shiny and cool with a big soundtrack. We really wanted to share what it's like to make a game. What do we
Right.
start with? Where do we start? So we've involved our community in every step of our development and shown them things you would never ever get to see normally,
Yeah.
and talked them through like, hey guys, look, this is, here's what we're dealing with. This is really difficult. This probably doesn't work too well. Check this out. This is working great. But just involve them in what it is we're doing, and
Yeah.
work with them closely, show them our progress.
Speaking of Lord of the Rings, is that magic is actually real magic. It's rare. So we have materium. It's like our arcane magical substance of the
From
world.
mana, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And so, usually in games, it's like everyone's blasting off spells, and it's
Yeah.
There's no weight to it. There's no rarity to it.
Right.
But with materium, I don't know if you're going to see people doing spells like that. It's probably going to be more like a Gandalf moment,
Oh,
where
Thou
if you
shall not pass.
If you see that happening, it's probably a very rare moment in the game that you witness.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we
Someone
do that?
can wield a fireball. It's a big deal. Magic is going to be very, very powerful. And again, blockchain, it's interesting because our magic, our mana, you can acquire out in the world when you're killing monsters. You can find more material out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Players can use that to cast spells or complete crafts, or even if you die and you want to come back without a penalty, if you have enough magic, you can come back without any penalty at all. And that, again, the power of blockchain allows that to exist inside of our game and also exist out in the secondary market and on exchanges. So Materium is an ERC20 token that's already being traded out there in the wild. So it's fun to be in a game where you're using magic, where you're acquiring magic, and that gives you power. And there's something interesting about taking it out of the game and giving you power in the real world.